heart beat fast. Whenever someone spoke English in front of me, I felt nervous. I understood many words, but when it was my turn to speak, my mind became blank. I was afraid of making mistakes. I was afraid that people would laugh at me. Because of this fear, I stayed silent most of the time. In school, I avoided reading aloud in English class. Even when the teacher asked simple questions, I replied in my local language. I told myself, my English is not good. I can't speak. Slowly, this thought became my belief. One day, something happened that changed my thinking. I was at a small interview. The interviewer asked me a simple question in English. Tell me about yourself. I knew the answer in my heart, but I couldn't say it in English. My voice shook. I made many mistakes. The interview ended quickly. When I came out, I felt sad and disappointed. That day, I realized one thing clearly. My knowledge was not the problem, my confidence was. That night, I made a small promise to myself. I said, I will not run away from English anymore. I started with very small steps. Every day I spoke English in front of the mirror for just 5 minutes. I didn't care about grammar. I didn't care about mistakes. I just spoke. Some days I spoke about my day. Some days I told myself a short story. At first, it felt strange. I made many mistakes. But slowly, something changed. I stopped feeling scared of my own voice. Then I started listening to simple English stories and videos. I repeated the sentences loudly. I learned how native speakers spoke. Not fast, but clearly. I didn't try to be perfect. I tried to be brave. The biggest change came when I accepted one truth. Making mistakes is part of learning. When I stopped worrying about mistakes, my confidence grew. I started speaking English with friends, even if my sentences were not perfect. Sometimes people corrected me, and instead of feeling ashamed, I felt grateful. Days became weeks. Weeks became months. One day, I noticed something surprising. I was speaking English without fear. Today, I still make mistakes. But now, mistakes don't stop me. Now, English is not a fear. It is a tool. It is a bridge between me and the world. Looking back, I understand one simple lesson. Confidence does not come from perfect English. Confidence comes from practice, courage, and self-belief. And if I can build confidence while speaking English, anyone can. After gaining a little confidence, I challenged myself again. I joined small online groups where people practiced speaking English. At first, I only listened. I was still scared to speak. But one day, I turned on my microphone and said just one sentence. My voice was low, but my heart was strong. No one laughed. No one judged me. Instead, people listened. That moment gave me courage. Slowly, I started speaking more. I learned new words every day, but more importantly, I learned how to express my thoughts. I stopped translating from my language to English in my head. I began thinking in simple English. This made speaking easier and faster. There were still bad days. Some days I forgot words. Some days I spoke wrong sentences, but this time I didn't stop. I reminded myself, progress is more important than perfection. One day, I faced another interview. This time I was nervous again, but not scared. When the interviewer asked me to introduce myself, I smiled and spoke slowly. My English was not perfect, but my confidence was real. I could see the difference in their eyes. When the interview ended, I felt proud. Not because I spoke perfect English, but because I spoke without fear. Now, English is a part of my daily life. I speak to myself, I think in English, I learn something new every day. I understand that confidence is not built overnight. It is built step by step, sentence by sentence. Today, when I see someone struggling with English, I don't laugh. I understand their fear. I tell them what I learned from my journey. Don't wait to be perfect. Start speaking now. Your confidence will grow with every word you speak. This is how I built confidence while speaking English. Not by being perfect, but by being brave. As time passed, something beautiful happened. I stopped thinking about English as a subject. It became a language of connection. I could share my ideas, my dreams, and even my fears. The same language that once made me silent now gave me a voice. One evening, I was asked to speak in English in front of a small group. Earlier, this thought alone would have scared me. But this time I said yes. My hands were shaking, but my heart was calm. I spoke slowly, clearly, and honestly. I didn't try to impress anyone, I just told my story. When I finished, there was silence for a moment, and then applause. That moment changed me forever. I realized that people don't listen for perfect grammar. They listen for truth and confidence. From that day, I stopped hiding my English. I used it everywhere, at work, with friends, and even with strangers. Now, when I look back at my old self, the quiet person who was afraid to speak, I feel proud. Not because I am fluent, but because I didn't give up. English taught me more than a language. It taught me patience. It taught me courage. It taught me self-belief. My journey is not special. It is simple. And that is why anyone can follow it. If you are reading this and feeling afraid to speak English, remember this. Start small. Speak daily. Accept mistakes. Believe in yourself. Confidence will not come one day suddenly. It will grow silently, just like mine did. And one day, you will speak English with confidence, not because you know everything, but because you are no longer afraid. After that moment, I understood one more important thing. Confidence grows faster when you help others. I started sharing my journey with people who were afraid of English, just like I once was. I told them my story honestly, my fear, my silence, my mistakes. When they heard that I was once the same, their fear became smaller. Sometimes someone would ask me, "How did you become so confident?" I always gave the same answer. I didn't become confident first. I spoke first. Every day, I still practice. I still learn. I still improve. Confidence is not something you reach and stop. It is something you maintain. Some days are easy. Some days are hard. But now, fear no longer controls me. English opened new doors for me. I could watch, read, and understand the world better. I could express my thoughts without hiding. Most importantly, I could be myself. Today, when I speak English, I don't try to sound perfect. I try to sound honest. And people understand me. That is enough. If I could go back and talk to my younger self, I would say only one sentence. Your voice matters. Speak, even if it shakes. I'll continue gently, keeping the flow natural, meaningful, and complete, like a life journey that is still teaching lessons. With time, I noticed a quiet change inside me. I was no longer translating every sentence in my head. Words came naturally, sometimes slowly, sometimes clearly, but they came. And when they didn't, I didn't panic. I paused, smiled, and continued. That calmness was new to me. English no longer controlled my confidence. I controlled my fear. There were moments when people spoke better than me. Earlier, that used to make me feel small. Now, it inspired me. I listened carefully, learned from them, and reminded myself that everyone has a different journey. One day, a stranger told me, "You speak English with confidence." I smiled when I heard that. Not because my English was perfect, but because I knew how far I had come. I understood then that confidence is not loud. It is quiet. It is steady. It is the courage to continue even when you feel unsure. Even today, I practice. I speak. I learn. Because confidence is not an end point. It is a habit. Every time I open my mouth and speak English, I remind myself of one simple truth. I am allowed to learn. I am allowed to make mistakes. I am allowed to speak. This belief turned fear into strength and silence into voice. That is how I continue building confidence while speaking English, one honest sentence at a time. Response 1. I'll continue one last time, slowly and deeply, as if the journey is reaching its final reflection while still feeling real and human. Now, when I stand in front of people and speak English, I don't see fear anymore. I see growth. I see every small step I took when no one was watching. Late nights, mirror practice, broken sentences, silent tears, and quiet hope. All of it brought me here. English did not change my life overnight. I changed my life by not giving up. There was a time when I believed confidence belonged only to others. Today, I know confidence is built by ordinary people who choose to try again. I am one of them. Sometimes I still pause while speaking. Sometimes I still search for words. But now, those moments don't define me. What defines me is that I continue. My story is not about learning English. My story is about finding my voice. And if you are reading this and feeling the same fear I once felt, remember this. Speak even when your voice shakes. Speak even when you make mistakes. Speak even when you doubt yourself. Because one day you will look back and realize the fear that once stopped you became the strength that shaped you. This journey continues with every conversation, every attempt, every brave word. And this is how I keep building confidence while speaking English, by choosing courage every single day. I'll continue in a soft, reflective way, adding meaning without rushing to stop, like life itself. As I move forward, I understand something even deeper. English was never the real challenge. Fear was. Fear of judgment. Fear of mistakes. Fear of not being good enough. When I slowly let go of that fear, English became lighter. Speaking felt natural, like breathing. Even silence stopped being embarrassing. I learned that it's okay to pause, to think, to choose words carefully. Sometimes I still feel nervous before speaking, but now I welcome that feeling. It reminds me that I care, that I'm growing. Confidence does not mean fear disappears. It means fear no longer decides your actions. I've learned to celebrate small wins, speaking one full sentence without stopping, expressing an idea clearly, being understood. These small moments built a strong foundation. Today, when I speak English, I don't ask myself, what if I'm wrong? I ask, what if I don't try? That question keeps me moving. My journey continues every day, in conversations, in thoughts, in quiet practice. And I know now that confidence is not a gift given to a few. It is a skill built by anyone who chooses to show up again and again. So I keep speaking. I keep learning. I keep believing. Because my voice deserves space in any language, and that belief will always carry me forward.